Any questions over the assignment so far? Any questions over any assignments we've had so far? Okay. Now what we're looking at today, first thing we're looking at today is adding and subtracting matrices. To add or subtract two matrices with the same dimensions, add or subtract their corresponding elements. The sum and difference of two matrices with different dimensions is undefined. So they have to have the same dimensions for us to be able to add or subtract. Now, you don't have to write this down because I have a feeling once we start doing these, they'll make sense. So if we look at, let's get a highlighter. So here, if we add these two here, A and E are in the same location, yes? So we add them together. B is in the top right, F is in the top right, so we add those together. Same thing is true with C and G, or D and H. No matter what the dimensions are, where they match up, we add them together or subtract them. And that's it. The same thing is true with subtraction. Questions on this here? So let's go and look at the first example, because this is going to make even more sense once we actually do it. Now, if we look at the first one here, the dimensions of both of these matrices here are 2 by 2, yes? So they're the exact same dimensions, which means we can add them together. So that means our 2 plus, because we're going to add, since the operation between them is addition, what would we add with 2? It would be 1, because it's in the corresponding spot. Then the next spot is -1 plus in the bottom row, well, our first number is 3 plus 4. And the last one is going to be 0 plus -2. Now we just need to simplify. 2 plus 1 is? -1 plus 2 is 1. 3 plus 4 is? And 0 plus -2. And that's it. That's all we have to do on this here. Any questions on this here? Are we ready for the next one? So are these two matrices here the same dimensions? Yes. Because we have a 3 by 2 and a 3 by 2, so we can add these, or here we're actually subtracting these from each other. So we would have 2 minus -1. Then we would have -3 minus 2. On the next one, we can have 5 minus 7, and then 4 minus 8, -2 minus -5, and lastly, 8 minus 6. Well, our 2 minus -1 is going to be 3, because the negative and negative makes a plus. -3 minus 2, -5. 5 minus 7 is? 4 minus 8 is? 2 minus -5. Negative make a? Would be +3. And 8 minus 6 is? That's it. Questions on any of this here so far? We like this? Okay, I'm gonna borrow this. We ready for the next one? Are these the exact same dimensions? So not possible or undefined. because if they don't have the same dimensions when we're adding or subtracting, it's going to be undefined. Because we do have something to match up, say, -8 and 6, 1 and -1, 3 and, we don't have anything there for the -1, or for the 3 to not line up with, to add with. And we can't add anything there because then we're changing what the matrix is. Questions on this here? We can actually do these in the calculator. Because what we can do is define this one here as matrix A, define this one as B, and then add them together. So if we wanted to do this on the calculator, I'll pull the graphing calculator up, we'll clear all that out, and I'll clear that key history. So the first thing we'll need to do is input matrix A. So we can go second matrix, over to edit, and then hit enter to put this matrix into the calculator. And for the one we're looking at, it is a 2 by 2, yes? So we can say 2 by 2. And our first number is -1. 7, 5, and 3. So we have the matrix plugged in. Now to plug in the next one, we would do what? Second quit, second mode, second matrix, to come back. But this time we want to edit matrix B, because what we did on Friday where we were putting these into the calculator, we could put everything in as A because we're only dealing with one matrix. Here we're dealing with 2. So we can go into matrix B and say 2 by 2. And this one is 6, -4, -8, and 2. So any questions on how we plug these in? Now we can go second, quit. So back to the home screen. Now for this here, we defined our first matrix as A, a second one is B. So we're doing what? A plus B. So the first thing we need to do is recall matrix A. So we'll go second matrix, and under this first column names, we can hit enter to recall the matrix, the one that we want. So A, then what? Plus second matrix. We scroll down 1 to B and hit enter, or press 2, and then hit enter. And there's the matrix. But I would definitely make sure you type it in correctly, because if you put a wrong sign or wrong symbol, it will change the answer. But for some of these, I mean, for these here, it's neither here nor there. It's probably for some of them, you can probably add or subtract them just as fast as you could probably type them into the calculator. Because this here is indeed 5, 3, -3, 5. Because we could do this either way. We can type them in as 2 by 1s, plug in A, plug in B, and subtract. Y'all need to see another example of one of these in the calculator. Yeah, so we can do this here. So we're saying that this is A, and this is B, and we're going to subtract. So in the calculator, we need to define matrix A. So we can go second matrix, go over to edit, and we hit enter to edit matrix A. Now this time we have a 2 by 1. 2 rows, 1 column. And our elements are 2 and 5. Once we get that typed in, we can go second quit, and then second matrix, and go over to edit and down to B. And again, we have a 2 by 1. This time our elements are -3 and 0. Questions on any of this so far? Now, we'll need the second quit, so we go back to the home screen. So the first thing we need to call up is matrix A. So we can say second matrix A, but this time we're subtracting from it second matrix B. And we get 5, 5. Any other questions on any of this here? It's always rows by columns, down and over. Any other questions on these here? Are they the same? No. So this here would be undefined. All right. I think we feel comfortable with those there, yes? Now the next thing we're going to look at is scalar, multiplying by a scalar. When working with matrices, a real number is often called a scalar. To multiply a matrix by a scalar, multiply each element in the matrix by the scalar. This process is called scalar multiplication. So here the value of k is the scalar. You multiply everything by said scalar. So if we look at this first one here, what are we going to multiply each of these elements by? 2. So I'm going to write it out. So we would do 2 times 3, or negative 2 times, not negative 2 times negative 2, it's just going to be 2 times negative 2. Then the next one we have 2 times 1, and 2 times 5. Then we have 2 times 2, and 2 times 0. Then we multiply by 2. So our first one, 2 times 3 is, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 2 times 1 is, 2 times 5 is, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 0 is 10. But that's it. That's all we have to do. And we could have done that in the calculator as well. We just define the matrix A and just do 2 times it. Questions on any of this here? Not too bad so far. We can actually combine them. We can do scalar multiplication with addition and subtraction. Now, whenever we work these out, we always do the scalar multiplication first and then add or subtract second. So we want to multiply and then add or subtract. So here, we would multiply that negative 3 through first. So we can say negative 3 times 5, negative 3 times 0. Then we'd have negative 3 times negative 2. And lastly, negative 3 times 4. And we're going to add 2 at our negative 1, 7, 3, and 2. Yes, because it's only affecting the ones it's in front of. Now, if it had parentheses around the 2, then it would go to both. But at that point, if there's parentheses around it, we would add them and then multiply it in. Now, if we do this here, negative 3 times 5 is going to be negative 15, 0, 6, and negative 12. Now we would add them together. So we'd have negative 15 plus negative 1, 0 plus 7, 6 plus 3, and negative 12 plus 2. Well, negative 15 plus negative 1 is negative 16. 0 plus 7 is. 6 plus 3 is. And negative 12 plus 2 is. And that's it. Any questions on any of these here? Now, we could have done this in the calculator. Because what we could have done is define matrix A. So gone second matrix over to A and said that it's A2 by 2. And we had 5, 0, negative 2, and 4 for matrix A. Then we go second quit, second matrix over to matrix B, which is again A2 by 2. And then negative 1, 7, 3, and 2. So questions on how we type these in for matrix A or B. Now we can go second quit. Now this time we had what? Negative 3, yes, because that was in front of it. Then I can go second matrix A. So the calculator understands that this is negative 3 times matrix A. We don't have to put the multiplication. It just understands because the negative 3 is in front, it's going to multiply it by it. Because I can go on and hit enter. Negative 15, 0, 6, negative 12. That's what we got, yes? So kind of just showing you that this would indeed be the multiplication. But we're doing what to it? We're adding to it what? Second matrix B. Is that the answer we got? Yeah. And I mean, we can do all kinds of different things. We could have said 2 parentheses, second matrix A minus 8 second matrix B plus 6 second matrix A. I mean, we could do this here. Hit enter, and there's the answer. So, I mean, we can do all sorts of different things, and the calculator will work it out. Now, for the most part, I think with most just addition, subtraction of 2 by 2, 2 by 1, I mean, it's not too bad. Doing it by hand or doing it in the calculator, that really doesn't save us time one way or the other. But especially something like this last one, the calculator is going to do it way faster than I ever could, right? So, to each their own on which one you want to use. Any questions on any of this here? And that's it. And that is it for chapter 1. So make sure on 7 and 8 that you, 1, describe the error, and 2, correct it. So you're describing and correcting the error. So you're saying what they did wrong and then fixing it. And again, for those, you don't have to have it in like super mathematical terms. You're just describing what they did and fixing it.